Hi guys, it's Andy Wood. Here is my dilemma. I added casters to a standard workbench, which makes it too tall. So I need to remove the casters. So it won't be the 41 inches versus about 36 inches what I'm going for. So when I initially put these casters on, the legs, so to say it, on the bottom of my workbench, the 2x4s didn't come exactly, they didn't meet up, so I put a spacer block with some shims so it would be nice and even. And very proud of myself because, again, I've never done any woodworking like this before, and I used very nice lag bolts, did pilot holes, did the whole thing so no wood would split, only to find out that the end result was a stable workbench, a portable workbench, but too tall of a workbench. So the casters must go off. Oh, look, lag bolts. The placement of the spacer boards here, whatever you want to call them, I did drive one screw through in them. I added a little bit of glue because that's what woodworkers are supposed to do, make wood stick. And this is, again, is something I've never done before. Separated lumber from other lumber that was glued together, screwed together, and it doesn't look like it was too hard in this particular example. And I wasn't too sure on my new casters that I'm going to install if, and it makes sense that your legs should be even. And I actually will show later on that I do measure to make sure I did right. Because again, I've never built a workbench. I've never built anything from wood. I've used power tools. I basically did what I was told. And the end result was usually what we were looking for. But this is something of my own design and creation. And it's very sturdy. It's made from just 2x4s and plywood. And it's solid. It's very, very solid. Now, just to make sure that my workbench, even though it was square, I wanted to make sure it was level. So I'm just measuring, and each leg came out to be 34.5 inches tall. Ah, the goods. Yes. Slight inventory. So as you can see here, there's 3 plates there. Those are the quick releases. And I know you only see 3 because I already did a test install one to make sure it was going to work. And these are little bits and pieces I didn't need. And Rockler makes one very similar to this. The price is a little bit higher, but I've seen a lot of people using these on YouTube. So I decided to give them a try. And again, not very difficult to install and pretty straightforward. The documentation leads a lot to be desired. But if you don't want to use the quick release, you can actually just screw these directly to a workbench or table or whatever. But I opted for the quick release because I wanted to try something else with behind me there. You can see, but not behind me, but behind the workbench, you can see a table saw on a smaller version of this table. And I want to try to marry those 2 tables together so I can use a table saw with an outfeed table, like I said earlier. Ta-da! Now, installation is pretty straightforward. I just made some pilot holes. I used a little spacer block that put, as per the directions, the quick release about 1.5 inches above the ground. And you'll notice that these are not wood screws, but they're the bolts that came with it. I'm doing the best I can with what I have. I think it's going to work fine. And then you'll see that I struggle with the actual caster. I figured it out though, so caster 1, Andy Wood 1. And this is going to work out great for me because for the most part, this workbench will be sitting on its base. But in case I want to move it, that will happen. Thanks, guys.